You're learning to draw with some help from YouTube and online tutorials from channels like Love Life Drawing. I've started to teach myself through online learning too. We're all about figure drawing here, but I also want to be able to paint landscapes, and I've realized that I need some skill to manage my online learning. Hi, my name's Kenzo, and this is Love Life Drawing. Sometimes when you're learning to draw, it can feel like you're lost, especially when you're self-taught. I often feel that way, so watching tutorials and reading books can feel like someone's giving you a map through the wilderness. And then from the YouTuber point of view, we love to make tutorials, and it's good for our channels to put out videos every week to be consistent. And online course creators want to make sure that you get your money's worth, so they'll pack lots of great tips into every lesson. But then if you're anything like me, you'll then put pencil to paper after the tutorial and things don't quite go as you expected and you feel lost again. And even worse, you might start to feel like you don't have enough talent because you couldn't even do it with that great tutorial. So I started an online course by a guy called Nathan Folks. It was about landscape painting with watercolour, and I really loved it. I don't have any relationship to Nathan Folks, but all I know is what I saw in this course, and I think he's one of the best art teachers I've come across. So far so good. And thank you to Nathan for allowing us to show some of his paintings in this video. So the first 2 weeks of the course were about value studies, where you just paint the simple statement that describes the landscape in as simple a way as possible, just with black and white, and the suggestion is to use gouache. So even just that is two learning curves for me. So one is trying to see that simple statement in a landscape rather than in a figure, and the other is the material, gouache. So, you know, it's only 2 weeks of the course, the first 2 weeks, but I've spent a couple of months on it. So every day I come to the park with my dog, and then if I have a spare 20 minutes or 30 minutes, I'll get out the watercolors and try and do a quick value study. If I've not yet reached that plateau with the simple statements, with these value studies, with the gouache, I'm still getting to grips with them. If I haven't plateaued on that, I'm still on that steep part of the learning curve, then why not just keep climbing that learning curve rather than trying to add more topics of learning right now when I'm still struggling with those. Just before we go on, I just wanted to let you know that we have a guide called Life Drawing Success. It's all about the one big mistake that led to all my other mistakes with learning to draw figures. So I think you'll like it. Check it out at lovelifedrawing.com/lifedrawingsuccess. And I'd like to try and be kind of an encouraging, it sounds a bit weird, but an encouraging teacher for myself. You know, I'm teaching myself here. I don't have a tutor or anyone. I'm learning from tutorials, learning online and practicing myself. So I have to act as my own teacher, and that means trying to be the kind of teacher that I would want to have, if that makes sense. So my natural inclination is to be like, come on, why aren't you doing better? This isn't good enough. That's not good enough when I'm talking to myself. If I was helping someone else, I would be a lot more encouraging and supportive, and I would be a lot more, and I would give them a lot more time to pick things up than I give myself. So why do that to myself? If I'm teaching myself, why not be the kind of teacher that I would want to have? So this is my painting buddy. She gets a bit bored when I do these watercolors. So the pace that I'm going to learn at isn't necessarily going to be dictated by the pace that YouTube tutorials are uploaded or the pace that online courses progress at. It's going to have to be a pace that I set for myself because I'm acting as my own teacher. I want to keep watching tutorials though, because they're fun and they're interesting. So in my head, I've compartmentalized things. It's kind of like eating food. If I try and eat all the food I can at once, I'm going to feel ill and I just won't want to move. So instead, I can store some food in the fridge or the freezer and just eat an amount that I can digest right now. So that way, I've always got the right amount to energize me without overwhelming me. So I watch tutorials, but a lot of the information goes in the fridge for later. It's interesting, but I'm not expecting myself to be able to do all that stuff right away. For right now, I want to have just enough for a healthy meal. And I'm sorry there are so many analogies in this video, but that is the way that I think of it. When I'm ready to start working on a new skill, then I'm going to go and get some more information about it and start practicing. As specific questions or difficulties arise, I'm going to go and find tips or watch demonstrations that are going to help with those specific things, and I'm going to practice until I feel like I've grasped that concept. Then I'm ready to put more stuff on my plate. And then alongside all of that deliberate learning, I'm just watching videos just because they're interesting, putting those in the fridge for later. I mean, I love the subject, so hearing people talk about it and explain it, watching them do it, it's really, really fun. So I've watched more of Nathan Folks' paintings, but I'm only asking myself to be able to do those first couple of weeks, the value studies and that kind of thing. If you enjoyed the video, check out one of our other videos. There's some up here on the screen. Hit that like button so that YouTube knows that the video was good. And if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button. We've got loads of good stuff coming up over the next few months.